Okay, so this first one right here, again, these are just special products. Same thing we did yesterday. This one right here, if you have the quantity a plus b squared, if something is squared, that means it's just times itself, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to do a plus b times a plus b. All right? And then we're going to do the same thing we were doing yesterday, so we have to distribute twice. So we're going to multiply this positive a times both of these terms. And then we're going to multiply this positive b times both of these terms. So in the red here, we've got a times a. So that's going to give us a squared. And then we do the positive a times the positive b. That gives us a positive ab. And then in the green, we're going to do a positive b times a positive a. But again, we'll put the letters in alphabetical order. So that'll give us a positive a times b. And then we'll do the positive b times the positive b. That'll give us a positive b squared. So then we can add these together in the middle here. So we're going to get a middle term. And you can see we have one of these, and then we have another one of those. So how many of those do we have?
2.
Yeah, we have 2 ABs. So then the final answer for this is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. In fact, let me actually put this right in this line right here. So the final answer is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. All right? So then I'm going to teach you a little shortcut for this, okay? So the shortcut, if it's some quantity squared, so if you see some quantity in parentheses like this, a binomial, 2 terms. So if you see 2 terms that are squared like this, what you're going to do is you're going to square the first term. So that's going to give you a squared. Do you see that right there?
Yes.
All right. And then you're going to square the second term here. So that's going to give you a positive b squared. That's going to go right here. And then the term in the middle, the shortcut for that is you multiply these 2 terms together. So positive a times positive b. And then times 2. Not squared. Just that term a, positive a, times that term positive b. Multiply those together and then double it. So that would get, if you multiply these 2 terms together, you would get a positive ab. And if you double that, you would get 2 ab's. A positive 2 ab's. So that would be your shortcut if you want to try to use that. But if you don't, you just do it the way we did yesterday. You just multiply that thing times itself. All right? So let's take a look at the second one up there at the top. Same, I mean, what's the difference here? Yeah, it's just got a minus in the middle, all right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. So if you want to do it like we did yesterday, you could just say, well, that's just the quantity a minus b times itself. All right? And then same thing from yesterday. So then you would distribute this a onto both of these terms. And then you would distribute this b, actually a negative b. You would distribute that onto both of these terms. But let's try to use the shortcut. So if you want to do it like that, if you're comfortable with that, like do it like yesterday, that's fine. But let's try to use the shortcut. So again, what we see here is we have a binomial. It has 2 terms and it's squared. So the shortcut here is I square the first term. What would that give me? Yeah, that would give me a squared. So let's see if we can use this shortcut. So it's going to give me an a squared. And then we're also going to square this term. So that's a negative b squared. So what's negative b times negative b?
Negative b, no, b squared.
Yeah, it's positive, right? So if you take that second term right there, that negative b, and you square it, that means negative b times negative b. That would give you a positive b squared. So you'd have a positive b squared right here. Then you just need to get that term in the middle. Well, to get the term in the middle, the shortcut is you multiply these two terms together and then double it. So you do a times a negative b. What's that? Positive a times negative b.
Negative AB.
Good. Yeah, that gives you a negative ab, and then you double that. So multiply it by 2. That would give you a negative 2ab in the middle. So that's your shortcut, if you want to use it. All right, so let's do a couple of these examples. So let's do, I don't know, what looks interesting here. I don't think we need to do all these. I like that idea. 2 and 5. So let's see, 2, I'm going to do it with, I'll do it the way we did it yesterday. And then 5, I'll use the shortcut. All right, so on number 2. So doing it the way we did it yesterday, we would say this is equal to the quantity 4s. Actually, let me write this below this. It's equal to the quantity 4s plus 3t times itself, right? That's what it means to square something, is to multiply it by itself 2 times. All right, so if we're going yesterday's method, then we're going to distribute this 4s onto both these terms. And then we're going to distribute the positive 3t onto both of these terms. So in red here, we've got a 4s times a 4s. What's that?
4S.
Carter, you got it?
Is that A, S?
No, multiply.
Oh, multiply. 16S.
Well, you got an s times an s.
Oh,
4s squared.
yeah, 4S squared.
Say it again.
4S.
Not 4.
16S squared.
Yes.
I knew that.
Good. So you got,
I was seeing if whatever her name is.
we got 16s squared.
Carol? Fire Carol.
Hey, I'm recording this, okay? And then we got a 4s times a positive 3t. So what's positive 4 times positive 3? That's a positive 12. But then we have an s times a t. So we got an s times a t. And again, normally you'll just put those in alphabetical order. So that would just be an st. So you got positive 12 st. All right. Then we got to do the green part. So for the green part, we're going to start out, we're going to do a positive 3t times a positive 4s. So what's 3 times 4? That's 12 again. And then we still have t times an s, which is ts. But again, we'll usually put those in alphabetical order. So I'm going to write it as a s times a t. All right, and then the last term there, we got to do a positive 3t times a positive 3t.
9t squared.
Good. Yep, a positive 9t squared. And then you can see that you do have like terms here in the middle. So then the final answer on this one, you got 16 s squareds. Now what's 12 sts plus 12 more sts?
24.
Good, Robert. Yeah, that's 24 of them. So you got a positive 24 of those sts. And then you bring down the plus 9t squared. And then that's it. There are no other like terms, so that's as far as you can go.
You just keep going with it.
Yep. Yeah, you combine the like terms with addition or subtraction if you can. All right, well, let's try number 5, but let's try the shortcut this time. Okay? So let's see, the shortcut on number 5. Now again, if you want to do it the long way, you can certainly write this thing as, anytime you can do this, especially if you're taking the SAT or something. If you're doing the SAT and you forget how to do this, if you're doing the SAT and you forget that shortcut, well, then you just do it the long way. You just say, well, if that quantity is squared, I just multiply it by itself. All right? It's that quantity times itself. Well, let's try the shortcut. So I'm going to write the shortcut out this way for you guys. So what you do, the shortcut is you square the first term. So that would be 2x squared. And then you know your last term, your third term, is going to be that second term inside that binomial. Actually, let me leave a little bit more room here. It's going to be the second term, the negative 5y. That second term in the binomial squared. That's going to make up your third term. And then to get the term in the middle, remember you multiply the two terms inside the parentheses together and then double that. So I still think I want to move this over a little bit further. Negative 5y squared. So that's your third term. Again, to get your term in the middle, you're going to do 2 times the first term in the binomial times the second term in the binomial. Like that. So it's those two terms inside the parentheses multiplied together and then double that. So multiply it by 2. All right, now this first one right here, the first term right here, what's 2x times 2x?
4x squared.
Good. So that's going to be a 4x squared. And then we might as well do this last term. So on this last term right here, what's negative 5y times negative 5y?
Negative 25y.
Careful, negative times negative.
Oh, 25.
25y to the what? It's this thing times itself.
Oh.
Remember, that's going to look like, I'll just draw it right here real quick. That's going to look like negative 5y times negative 5y, right? So what's that give you?
25y to the second power.
Yeah, good, Robert. Yeah, it's going to be positive 25y to the second power. So this is going to give you a positive 25y to the second power. And then that term in the middle, well, that term in the middle there, you're going to get a 2 times a 2 times a negative 5. So what's 2 times 2 times negative 5?
Negative 100.
2 times 2 times negative 5.
Negative 20.
Good.
That number.
Hayden, that's good.
Point.
Yeah, so 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So it's going to be a negative 20. And then don't forget, you still got you got an x times a y. That thing up there, that's all multiplication, right? There's a multiplication there, 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 there. So don't forget that you got to do the x times the y, which just gives you an xy. And then I got that kind of spread out kind of far, but let me rewrite it. So what is it now? It's negative 20xy plus 25y squared. So again, it's up to you guys. If you guys like that shortcut, go ahead and use it. If you don't, just do it the way we did it yesterday. All right, and then the next part of this thing is called the difference of two squares. I'll show you why it's called that. In fact, we did that on that homework problem. I think we did that exact same thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think on that homework problem I did on the board, we did the quantity a plus b times the quantity a minus b.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen to the middle terms?
They're going to distribute.
That term in the middle, what happens on this one?
Um,
I think Robert said it last time. What happened to when you did this one like this, Robert, what happened to the middle term?
Oh, we cancel out.
It cancels out, yeah. So do you see it's got to be a plus b and a minus b. So it's got to be two binomials that are the same. One of them's got to have a plus in the middle and the other one has to have a minus. Whenever that happens, whenever you have that kind of a setup, then the middle term is going to cancel out. So I'll show it the long way just so we can get the formula. So the long way on this thing. So we would do, let's see. From yesterday, we were doing this, what? In the red. We would do this a times this a, and this a times this negative b. And then in the green here, we do the positive b times the a and the positive b times the negative b. So if we work that all out on this one, in the red, we'd have a times a. So that would be a squared. And then we'd have a times negative b. That would be a negative ab. Then we have positive b times a. Well, that's ba, but that's the same thing as a times b. So we'd have a positive ab. Oh, that was supposed to be in green. So we'd have a positive ab. And then we do the positive b times the negative b. Well, positive times a negative is a negative. And then the b times b is b squared. Now you guys see that the middle term ends up canceling out? This term right here cancels out, right? That is 0. You got negative 1ab plus 1ab. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0, so you got 0 ab. 0 times ab is 0. So all you get out of this one then for a final answer is you just get a squared minus b squared. And that's why it's called the difference of two squares right here. Difference means subtract. So it's just something squared minus something squared. Now, if you don't realize that that's going to happen, you can do it like yesterday and you can work all this stuff out, right? And it'll work out. But if you want to use this shortcut, you're going to realize that the middle term is going to drop out and be 0. Okay? So let's try a couple of these. Let's see, which one should we do?
Let's do
8.
That looks kind of messy. Maybe we should
9.
let's do all 3 of them because the 7 will be quick. We'll just do them all. So we're going to use the shortcut, okay? So the shortcut on number 7, do you see how those are identical binomials, but one has a plus in the middle and the other one has a minus in the middle? Then when you see that occur, then you know the middle term is going to cancel out. So then all you have to do to use the shortcut then is you just go, it's going to be the first term squared, the second term squared, and it's going to be a minus in the middle. That's all you got to do. So for this one, you should get x squared minus, what's 4 squared?
8.
No, 4 times 4. 16, yeah, times itself. So you get x squared minus 16. Do you like that shortcut?
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Because the middle term canceled out, right? The middle term would come from, you would have done, let's see. You would have done these two multiplied together and these two multiplied together. Well, if you multiply that x times that negative 4, that would have gave you a negative 4x, right? And if you would have multiplied that So that was the x times the negative 4 right there. And then you also would have done the positive 4 times the x right there. And that would have gave you a positive 4x. That's what that middle term would have been. But then you guys realize that that is just 0. And those just cancel out. All right, so these, yeah, we can do all three of these because we'll just use the shortcut. So are those identical binomials in number 8, but one has a plus in the middle and the other one has a minus?
Yeah.
All right, so then all you got to do is square the first term. So p squared squared. And then you got to square that second term right there. So you're going to square this positive 8q right here. So that's a 8q squared. And you know that it's going to have a minus in the middle, right? Now, where does that minus come from? Well, that minus comes from when you multiply these two together, right? When you do the positive 8q times the negative 8q, that's what gives you this minus in the middle, right? And then you would do 8 times 8 and q times q, which would be 8q squared, right? Okay, so then what do we get? What's p squared squared? So that's a rule from, that's been a while since we've done that. This is a power raised to a power. So what do you do with those exponents?
Combine them.
What's that?
Combine them.
Yeah, what do? Do you add them or multiply them?
Multiply.
Good. Yeah, you multiply them. So p squared squared, that means p squared times p squared, right? Anything squared means times itself. So that's going to give you a p to the 4th. And then it's a minus in the middle. Now what's 8q squared? That means 8q times 8q. 64q to the what? What power on the q?
Second.
Yes, good. There you go. So there's that one.
No. You
Can we get a math break after this?
Yeah. All right, last one. So this is the last problem we do in chapter. I think that's the last one, isn't it? Yeah. This is the last one in section 7, or the last one in chapter 7. Okay, so are those the same, excuse me, are those the same binomial, but one has a plus in the middle, the other one has a minus? Then you can see right away, if you started multiplying this out, that when you multiply these two together and these two together, they'd cancel out, right? Because that would give you a negative 10b plus 10b. So you're going to use that shortcut then. So it's going to be this. It's going to be this first term squared, which is 10 squared, and then it's going to be this second term right here, this positive b. You square that, so that's a b squared, and then it's going to have a minus in the middle. Well, what's 10 squared?
100.
Yeah, don't do 10 times 2. It's 10 times 10. So you get 100 minus, well, b to the second powers is b squared, right? And there you go. All right. So let me stop this recording here. Actually, maybe I'll write the assignment up there real quick. So let me write that down so the kids at home can see it. I mean, it's posted on Schoology anyway, but. So the assignment is on page 525. You got 2 through 19 and number 63.